Welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationships, Sunday night at 9. I am your host, Coach Glenda, the Rise Again woman. I am so glad to see you guys here tonight. I'm so glad that you showed up, that this new year is starting out strong. Now, last week we talked about becoming unstoppable through clarity and execution. Tonight we're gonna talk about something even more important, the kind of relationship culture we are building in 2026. Okay? So, the topic for tonight is the state of the relationship, what we're building in 2026. Okay, let's see. Let's take a few deep breaths. Let's set the mood. Let's take a few deep breaths. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. All right, I'm going to give you a moment, and I want you to think of one expectation you are releasing in 2026. While you're breathing in and out, I want you to think of one expectation you are releasing in 2026. Now, I'm not going to leave you out here alone. I'm going to give you an example, but I just want you to think about it while you're doing your breathing. So you can have time to come up with one expectation you are releasing in 2026. Thank you so much for joining. I see a few people that signed in. Thank you so much. Your participation is always welcome. Tonight's topic is the state of relationship, what we're building in 2026. We are currently taking a few deep breaths, just getting ready to set the mood for tonight's open live discussion. And I did ask the participants that while they're doing their breathing, think of one expectation they are releasing in 2026. So that's for the new people that just joined in. I wanted them to know where we were in our live discussion before moving on. I'm going to give you an example, but while we're taking some deep breaths, I want you to think of one expectation you are releasing in 2026. All right. So for me, one expectation I am releasing for 2026, I am releasing the belief that other people should automatically know what I need or how I feel. That is one for me for 2026. I'm going to practice clear communication over silent expectation in 2026. Now, does anyone want to come off mute and share one of their expectations that they are releasing for 2026? And if you want to put it in the chat, I don't mind reading it. Okay. All right. No one wants to share?
I think, good evening. I think for me, I think it could be an expectation to be that everyone that I'm expecting to deliver something in a particular way to me would
Okay.
do it. Releasing that expectation. I need to understand that people are different and they have their way of doing something. It may be their best, but it may not be something that I want it, I expect it that way or something,
Right.
something different. I don't know how to really explain that, what I'm saying, but um, that would be mine.
Okay. Did anybody else want to come off mute and share? Okay. Moving right along. Now, healthy relationships don't grow in pressure. They grow in practice spaces. Now, this community It's not about perfection. It's not about fixing others. It's not about rushing healing. This community is about participation, practice, and personal responsibility. So when you think of your reset moments, we're going to stop performing wellness. We will allow honesty without judgment. In our reconnect moment, we build communication skills and emotional awareness. Now, in the reconnect moments, when I say building communication skills and emotional awareness, what comes to mind? How can you reconnect by building communication skills and emotional awareness? Now, feel free to come off mute at any given time if you want to share. And as always, you're free to put it in the chat. So
Would you say that again? Would you state that again?
in the reconnect moments, what would be some ways you would rebuild your communication skills and emotional awareness during the reconnect moments in a relationship?
I guess I could say something like we would just really kind of talk, talk more, talk it out with clarity. I think is always the thing that we're looking for, and just making
Correct.
sure that someone understands what I understand what you're trying to say. You understand what I'm trying to say. Let's just try to make sure we make it clear.
Correct. I agree with that. Now, the example that I have is the one that stands out for me is when I'm talking and you're on the phone, I feel unheard. Can we agree on phone free time when we talk? You know how you're trying to have a discussion with someone, they either texting, on the phone, watching TV, cooking, cleaning, whatever the case may be. I need your full attention when we're having a conversation. So being, like you said, being clear and providing clarity with your expectations in a relationship helps build good communication. Now, what about emotional awareness? What comes to mind when you think about emotional awareness?
This stuff is tough.
It's not tough. Trust me. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
I don't know. This is tough.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna meet you halfway because I want to meet
Okay.
you where you are. Okay, so when I think of emotional awareness, I think about identifying triggers, stuff that make me spaz out before you know it, without reacting. So I'm trying to avoid, like for myself, sometimes depending on who it is, it's usually the people that I'm very comfortable with. Sometimes when they say stuff, I either spaz out or I react immediately and really not thinking about what I'm saying. And see, I need to stop that. So before reaching out, maybe I should pause and breathe and think more before I speak. Now, sometimes the response is appropriate, like, but sometimes you can come back with a better response, a calmer response. So thinking before you react. So that's an emotional, because you know what triggers you. You know what some things that certain people say, they'll get you fired up without any second thought. Let's see, something that gets me fired out quick, having to repeat myself continuously. That is one thing that really gets under my skin. And then what's so funny, the person will repeat it. I said, then why did you ask me to repeat myself? It's wrong. You got a hearing problem? That is one thing that triggers me. I don't like repeating myself. So did that help you with an example of an emotional awareness?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Okay. This is not hard. I want you to relax. I want you to say, just think about the question, and then sometimes you can just say the first thing that comes to mind. It's no right or wrong answers. We're gonna work through it all together. Now, in our rise moment, we take actions. We take small, consistent, repeatable actions. Progress is not dramatic. It's really not a big deal. Sometimes people make it make it out to be that way, but it really isn't. Progress is practice, it's constant practice day to day. When you think about progress, you think about something simple like learning how to ride a bike all over again. The more you practice, regardless of the falls, the scrapes, the cuts, no matter what, if you really want to learn how to ride a bike, you got to keep getting back on that bike and try it over and over and over again. Practice makes perfect until you get it down pat. So in our rise moment, we are going to take actions. We're going to take small, consistent, repeatable actions. Now, when you think of small, consistent, repeatable actions, what comes to mind? Let me see. Let me see if I have anything in the chat. Okay, I do have something in chat. We have being more patient. Let's see. Okay. All right. I see that. Thank you so much for sharing. So, what would be some small, consistent, repeatable actions that we could take in our relationships? Now, I'm gonna give you an example just to kick us off. We think about, like for me, I have daily check-ins with myself. How I ask myself, how am I feeling today? I ask myself, that's a small question. It's very simple. I'm feeling well. I'm feeling okay. I didn't sleep that well last night, and because I was dealing with something from the night before, now it done trickled into the next morning. And being consistent, I do it the same time every day, every morning when I wake up. Every time I hit the bathroom glass, I ask myself, how am I feeling today? And repeat by being repeatable, it's no deep analyze. I don't try to overanalyze myself. I just, okay, how am I feeling? I could be better. I feel okay. Last night I didn't sleep that well, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it through the day. Just listen and acknowledge. Never ignore your feelings. Never think that how you feel is being disregarded, not even to yourself. Because we have that tendency of thinking that when we talk to other people about our problems, or when people ask us, how are you doing today? You think that's just a general comment, and to yourself, you think they really don't care. But actually ask yourself that, because the first person that you need to keep at the top of your priority list is yourself. You are the number one priority in any relationship that you're in, whether it's with a girlfriend, boyfriend, a spouse, or even on your job. You are the number one priority in your relationship. So taking action, taking small, consistent, repeatable actions, asking yourself every day how you feel, the same time every day is being consistent, and repeatable is don't make a big issue out of it. It's no deep analyzing. Just listen and acknowledge. That's it. Because you just want to be heard. That's it. You just want to state the facts and keep it moving. Now, does anybody else have any examples or something they want to share about how they would take action? Any small, consistent, repeatable actions?
I think I'm a little bit lost.
Okay. Come on.
So what are these actions for? What are these small repeatable actions that are we're
It's
doing
for healthy relationships.
to help improve us within a relationship? Oh, okay. So what we would do on a small repeatable
Yes.
thing to do. Okay.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
understand. All right.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right.
Not a problem. Okay.
I think I think for me, it could be just like you said, perhaps maybe a check-in,
Check in.
a check-in to see, well, what are we doing today?
Hmm.
I think I would like to know that, what's your plans for this week? What are your plans for today? I would like a relationship to go in that manner so that we can always be on one accord with. I don't have to ask you every minute, what's
Right.
going on or whatever. I can know in my head that my partner or my spouse or my friend or whatever we got going on, I know at this particular time they should be doing this or that based on what we have already discussed. So I like a check-in, like a weekly check-in or something like,
You
hey,
like
this
your
is
relationship check-ins.
relationship check-in. Yeah. So, we can know what's going on. You know what's going on with me that I need you to know, and I know what's going on with you. Now, that doesn't mean that's actually what will happen, but that is what I know is projected to happen. Now what not, let's say you're going to be somewhere at 2 o'clock and maybe you're somewhere else at 2 o'clock besides what you said. That's not the issue. My thing of it is this is your plans for today.
Right.
I like that type of thing.
Okay. That's good. That's good. That's good starting place. A lot of relationships, I know they don't have that. They don't have relationship check-ins. I know that I tried it a few times in my past relationship, and we had that one night where we talked about it, but it just seemed like the next day it's like it's gone. Did you not hear anything that we talked about? It did. There were no changes. No, there was no improvement. And it's like, my thing is, if there's no changes or any effort, I should say, if there's no effort on your end, why should I make any changes? Why should I make any changes? Why should I make any adjustments? So, I know that in relationships, when there are relationship check-ins, it's important that you hear the other person. Don't just listen to me. I need you to hear what I'm saying. I need to know that you comprehend what I'm saying, and I need to know how we can improve this. Because if you're trying to go to the next step, this is what's right. This is what's wrong. This is what needs to get better. And that's the importance of a relationship check-in. And like you also said, sometimes that's not going to always be the case. It's not going to play out always the way you want it to, but at least you start out in the right direction. Yes, being held accountable. Yes. What's the purpose of having a conversation if the person isn't going to be held accountable for what you discussed? You're absolutely right. All right. Okay. So I want to ask you another question. What helps you feel safe learning, not performing in your relationship? What helps you feel safe learning and not performing in your relationship? And I'm going to start us off with an example because I know your head is probably spinning. You're like, what in the world is she talking about? All right. For me, my example would be I feel safe when I'm allowed to question without being judged or rushed to get it right. I learn best when I'm able to make mistakes and they are treated as growth and not failures. And that happens to me a lot at work because I recently I got promoted to another position, and the training is a hit and miss. But because I was already employed there, so it was a promotion, I was already familiar with the system and some of the processes. But for this particular position, people want things done a certain way. And if you don't properly train, you're really not going to get the results that you're looking for. But I will say that my leadership, even though I make mistakes and I ask a lot of questions and I take very good notes, they don't penalize me. I look at it as, for me, I look at it as it's a growing moment and not a failing moment, because I'm really not being consistently trained like I should be. And they know it. They know because of the holidays and time off requests, they haven't been consistent with the training. But I took the ball and I ran with it, and I do the best that I can. And if there's anything that I need to tweak or change, I just let them know. If there's anything I need to adjust, please let me know. I don't have a problem with correcting it. But that's one thing that I like, or it helps me feel safe when it comes to learning and not just performing. And the example that I used tonight, it was pertaining more so to work. It's like I feel safe because I feel safe when I'm able to ask questions without being judged or being rushed to get it right. And I learn best when I make mistakes and they're not treated as a failure, but they're treated as growth. So in a relationship, how would you apply that? Does anyone else have an example they want to share? Let's see what we have in our chat.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that in a relationship, you just want the person to be able to allow you to be able to make mistakes and to give you grace, sounds like.
Yeah.
I think I could see that, and I can also agree with that.
Because nobody is perfect. Everybody's going to make mistakes, especially in the learning phase of a relationship. Let's think about it.
I think sometimes that can be the trick, though, because at what point do you say too many mistakes? And, you know, and it's not saying that to you, but I'm saying in general, like I just see sometimes, like I was talking to this girl the other day, and her guy, she had helped him find a job, and then for whatever reason, he couldn't go take the drug test, and she had done all of this to get him a job, and so she was feeling bad, saying, "Well, what am I going to do?" And I was like, "Why are you concerned about what you're going to do? He's grown. If he gets thrown out in the streets, he did it to himself."
Right. But was that the first time she helped him?
Honestly, seems like she's been helping him since I've heard them dating.
Okay. Well, that might have been the straw that broke the camel back on that situation, because if she did all that work and got him to where he was able to have an interview and then he was supposed to go get a drug test and he wasn't, my question would be, why couldn't you make the drug test?
Well, he kept making excuses, saying that it was too crowded one day and they sent him home. And I thought to myself, I've never known a company to send you home, you know?
Neither have I. And
But
most of
she
the
just
time,
started
it's
feeling,
a schedule. Most
she
drug
was
tests are
just
scheduled.
feeling bad. She was feeling bad. And I just told her, I said, the only reason you're feeling bad is because you're tired of spending money.
Exactly. And that's when her grace should be getting a little low. And I mean, homeboy or whoever he has to figure out something else, because see, now she's not protecting her peace and now she's unhappy, and it really doesn't, I mean, it affects her, but she has a job. He's the one that needs the job. And you can't help somebody that don't want to be helped. And that's not putting in the work. You can't do all the work for them. I can't fill out your application, update your resume, go to the interview, do the drug test, and go to work and do the job for you. That's not going to work. When does it
Correct.
stop?
Correct. And that's where I've been trying to talk her through that, but you know, when people are in love, you kind of have to let them just get exhausted.
Yeah, you need to let them fall and bust their head down to the white meat for them to get it, because eventually she's gonna throw her hands up and say, I can't take it. And then she is gonna have gone too long. And she's gonna think back, I should have listened to Mr. long time ago. I should have cut my losses long time ago. And that's another thing. We stay in stuff after seeing all the red flags, confiding in our friends, complaining about the same thing time after time, and no changes are made. And then it's like when all the grits hit the fan, it's like, wow, I dealt with this for 15 years. I dealt with this for 10 years. I saw the signs 2 years ago and I should have bailed. But grace does have an expiration date. I do believe that.
I think you couldn't have said it better. Grace has an expiration date.
Yes, grace does. I'm not a holy moly roller or anything like that, but I will say grace does. My human grace has an expiration date. I mean, I can't keep tolerating and putting up with stuff. I mean, we all grown. Let's look at it that way. We're all grown. And she needs to learn that her happiness means the most, and she can't keep holding hands, with a grown person, trying to walk them through everything, because that's his responsibility. If he really wants a job, that's his responsibility. Up until the resume and, the referral process, that's all she could possibly do. But for him to go take the drug test and show up for the job, that's all on him. I hope she come out of that. I hope she comes out on top on that situation, because it can't be but so many excuses when it comes to, helping another grown person get a job. Because being sent home due to a drug test, most of the drug tests that I've taken, they were scheduled. They knew I was coming. And they have a time frame, 8 to 5. Okay, so anyone else want to chime in on what helps them feel safe learning, not performing? I'm going to give you one more example before we move on to my next question. I feel safe when progress is valued over perfection, when efforts is acknowledged, even if I'm still figuring things out. Relationships are always a work in progress. There's no perfect relationship. Everything is, we have to practice at it. You're still learning each other. So when someone sees that you're trying, even during the learning process, and you're still figuring things out, they don't hold it against you. And that's a safe environment for me. Just like my new relationship, it was in the beginning stage, I'll say in the first 12 months, I'll say, yeah, first 12 months, trying to learn what he likes, what I like, what I don't like, what he doesn't like, his routine, his morning or afternoon, evening rituals, a lot of stuff, we're all set in our ways. We're all grown folks. And, I, I like room temperature water. He likes cold water. He may have a good gesture to bring me a cold glass of water. I don't do cold water. But it was a work in progress. We wasn't trying to be perfect. It was like trial and error. But we stuck it out, and we worked through all of those things, and we learned each other, and we just put in a lot of effort into getting to know each other's likes and dislikes, and everything worked out. But not all relationships work that way. Okay, so
It's about communication and respect, though.
absolutely. Nice.
Because if you like warm water and he like cold water, if he go and bring you cold water, you know, you still should thank him and be appreciative of the thought that he did it.
Of
So it's
course.
about communication and respect,
That's right.
and it's not what you say, it's how you say it when you
Absolutely.
do that. That's how that works.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So in my scenario, in my example, when I took the cold water, I just set it down and let it get down to room temperature. But I did say thank you, and you're absolutely right. When you're getting to know someone, I did let the individual know, hey, I really don't do cold water. I prefer room temperature water. So it worked out. So moving forward, and that's another key thing. When you tell somebody up front something what you don't like, or something that bothers you, if from that moment forward, if they make a change and they remember what you said, and it's like they correct that means a lot. That says a lot, because from that day forward, he knows not to bring me cold water. He knows to bring me room temperature water. Whether it's, he won't pull from the refrigerator, he'll pull from the bag on the floor or whatever. But he knows that. And another example, I'm sorry to get off track, but this just came to mind. I used to date a guy, and I told him I have a nut allergy. And one of the biggest allergies I have is the peanuts. I mean, the EpiPen doesn't even work. I have to go to the emergency room. Every time I went to his house, the first 30 days, he would ask me, he would offer me this Little Debbie snack, Nutty Buddy. And the first time I told him I'm allergic to peanuts. Oh, okay. The next time I said, no, no, thank you. I'm allergic. I got a nut allergy. I'm allergic. He asked me again. I was like, this don't need sense. I said, are you not hearing me? What part of nut allergy you don't get? And that said a lot. But see, that was a red flag because years later, the relationship didn't work. It really, when I look back on it, it didn't work. He didn't listen to me. He didn't pay attention to a lot of stuff that I said. And when you're in a relationship and you're talking to somebody, you need to listen. If you're serious about the person, you have to pay attention to what they're saying. And if it's something that is, especially if it's something that they don't like, especially an allergy, you need to take heed to that. Yes,
Agree
I
with
can.
that 100%.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
sometimes you got to understand the situation too, Blender, because say for example, my wife don't like red roses. Period.
You
Don't
said
get her no red roses.
red roses.
But here's the thing with me though. I'm so used to getting roses for who I'm with and for females, period, especially sending them to the job, I get in the habit of doing it. And with me, since my accident, I forget stuff. But it didn't take but 3 times. I know damn well she won't get no red roses from me now, but it took 3 times.
Okay, but it was a work in progress.
Right. Because like I said, I'm so used to doing it and I do just because stuff.
Right.
You understand? I do just because. And when I do just because, just out of the blue, I'm like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna get roses and I take them home or send them to your job because I know females' heads feel some kind of way and get so big when they get roses at work out of the blue and be all excited. And then with their co-workers looking and talking, oh, and all that. So I know what it does to you. It lifts your day up. So that's what I was used to doing. But after that third time, and for a birthday, shit, I won't do that no more.
See, that's
I go get her
good.
some damn carnations or something. It won't be no damn red roses.
Well, see, that's good. But that's good. You learned. It was a trial and error. You wouldn't have known what she liked or what she didn't like unless you either communicated up front or she told you after you presented it to her the first time, right?
Yeah, I mean, she let me know she didn't care for the roses, but like I said, in my state of mind and being a, a habit of doing it just out the blue, you know what I'm saying? I'm just used to doing it.
Right.
And with the accident, I forget stuff.
It's
So
okay.
I didn't think about it. But after that third time, it didn't 3 strikes you out. She let me know up front, and the way she let me know, I won't get no damn roses no more. I promise you.
Okay. Okay.
You know
That's
what I
good.
mean?
Yes,
But
sir.
it's all about communication and
It is.
respect. That's the bottom line. She
Right.
still appreciated it, but she let me know on the other hand, don't buy no damn roses,
Right. Right. But that's
especially
good
red
because you
ones.
communicated up front.
Yes,
And
she did.
a lot of relationships don't. And then again, sometimes when we do communicate, people don't really listen to you. It took almost probably more than 3 months for the guy to realize I cannot eat peanuts. Stop offering me, Reese Pieces cups and Nutty Buddies. I can't eat it. So,
Right.
no matter how many times I told him, it took him at least 3 months to get it. So, I mean, being open and honest in your communication is huge in relationships. And then also just to piggyback on that, Mr. Kingdom, the emotional awareness, because the way she said it, I'm just taking it based off of how you said it. Don't bring me no. She put a lot of emphasis on that. Them red roses got her a little emotional, but in the negative way. She wanted to make it clear to you, do not bring me any red roses.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with, like I said, it's about communication. It's not what you say, it's how you said it. I gave it to her. She appreciated it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that I did something. But she also went back and let me know, don't do that shit no more. I got pictures where she all excited, it's a birthday and all that with the roses. She holding the roses and all them damn balloons up. But then at the end of the day, she didn't embarrass me in front of nobody,
Right.
but she let me know.
She let you know.
Don't do that shit no more.
Okay.
And that time is stuck.
Okay. But that's good. That
Yeah.
open and honest communication always helps and it makes things go better.
Right.
Okay. So let me ask one other question. What kind of relationship do you want to be ready for in 2026? Now, anybody can answer. As always, you can come off mute. You can put it in the chat and I'll read it.
Say it again.
What kind of relationship do you want to be ready for in 2026?
Open and honest with a
Okay.
great communication skill. Because if you got a good communication skill and you open and honest, and you say, for example, let's say you and I was talking, and I do something unintentionally and it upsets you. I want to be able to communicate with you. You get it in the open. Hey, look, this bothered me. You go ahead and get it over with. You can move on. But if you hold it in, you know what I mean, don't have that communication, don't want to say nothing, all it's going to do is escalate down the road. But if you can go ahead and
Right.
get it in the open, deal with it, move on, you're good to go.
Right.
So
Correct.
that's why I say open communication and honesty. That's it.
Right. Yes, and we do emphasize that in Reset about being open and honest in your communication and speaking your truth is huge. And people, they discount it and they downplay it all the time in relationships. They make it seem like their voice doesn't matter, and it really does. Now, there was a couple of questions I just want to clear up because I don't want to move on without addressing any questions that are in the chat. Now, Sharon, if you don't mind me saying your name, I apologize. You can correct me. But Sharon, you asked the question, did it hurt their feelings? Were you referring to Bo, Mr. Kingdom and the flowers?
Yes, yes, that's what I would refer to because
Okay.
seems like the type that that his feelings get hurt easily, and I hate when like if I say something like that to a person, and even though they look at it like that, they look at it as me being mean and not being thankful that they got me something instead of versus me telling them what I like. You know what I'm saying? It's like they can't get past me saying I don't like red roses, maybe
Right.
yellow roses, because he said he's so used to seeing roses, red
Right.
roses. It was hard for him to adjust. I don't think it should have took those 3 times though.
Mr. Kingdom, how was your feelings when she broke it down to you and told you she didn't want any red roses anymore? Mr. Kingdom, you're on mute if you're speaking. We'll let him circle back when he get back. We'll circle back to that question when he come back. The other question I saw in the chat, someone said, I wonder if it matters how you communicate it. And I think it does. My comment to them was, I think it does how you correct somebody or tell somebody that you don't like something or, so they can do better moving forward. I think it does matter how you communicate what you like and what you don't like. I do personally believe that. Let's see, do I have anything? Okay, and Andre, if I apologize for saying your name, but you put in the chat, you're still trying to figure that one out. What are you trying to still figure out?
Something must be wrong with their microphones or something.
It could be they might be speaking in their own mute and they just don't realize it. But Andre and Mr. Kingdom, if y'all wanted to elaborate on your Mr. Kingdom, if you want to let us know how you felt when your wife told you about those red roses, how did it affect you? Please chime in and let us know. And also, Andre, you did put it in the chat. You said you were trying to figure something out, and I wanted to address that because before we move on, I want to make sure that all minds and hearts are clear before I move on to the next question. All
I
right.
was saying for me that People ask me all the time, well, what are you looking for in a relationship in 2026?
Okay.
And I tell them I have the slightest clue.
What?
Because I don't. I mean, I don't.
You over 21, you should know, honey.
I guess because I wasn't looking is why I'm like, I don't know.
You don't want to be, well, that's an offline question. Okay. Okay. So someone did put in the chat, they're looking for honesty, loyalty, and open in their relationship in 2026. Hey, that's great. And you deserve that plus some more. Okay, I see you said you wasn't looking either. Okay. Someone else put in the chat, fun and uncomplicated in 2026 relationship. Hey, you being open and honest, and that's what matters the most. All right, I like the sound of that. We are moving right along. Okay, so with that being said, you guys, we are at our 20-minute mark. Now, did anyone have any other questions they wanted to ask? Anybody need clarity or anything? Any other additional feedbacks or comments? Let me ask you this, just in case you guys are thinking of anything else you want to add to the discussion. Name one habit you are trying to strengthen in 2026. Because I've heard two people on the chat tonight say that they're not looking for a relationship. They're not looking. So sometimes the best relationships are found when you're not looking. To be honest, I know that pretty well, so that might work out. But name one habit you want to strengthen in 2026. So far, I see, oh, okay, great. I love the participation. I have listening, I have patience. That's great. And those are key habits to practice in relationships, because you have to be a good listener. You can't always be a talker. You always have to be able to listen, and also being patient. That's huge too, because you can't get that instant. You can't get that instant results that you're always looking for in your relationships, and you have to be patient. And when you really love somebody, or you think you have that number one person, that person that's going to change your life, you have to be patient with them. You have to work with them, because if I toss aside the guy that I'm dating because he poured me cold water, that the joke would have been on me, because look at all the other benefits. But he learned from that one time not to bring me cold water, to bring me room temperature water. But you have to be patient. You have to be willing to work with someone. Now, I did give the last guy with the nut allergy. I gave him too much grace, and I gave him too much patience. I should have bailed out long time ago. So are you saying you think you're overly patient? Did you want to expound on that, ma'am?
Yeah, I was just retyping what I said. I was saying when you said you got to be really patient. I was saying I didn't say be overly patient, ma'am.
Right. Don't be overly patient. You're absolutely right. Everything has an expiration date. You're absolutely right on that. That is so very true. That is so very true. All right. So I think, do anybody have any questions? Anybody want to provide any additional feedback?
Can you see if Mr. Kingdom back on the phone yet?
He's here, but he's still on mute, and he hasn't said anything. But sometimes people walk away from the phone.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put him on the spot either. But I understand. But I could imagine how but he did say she didn't embarrass him when he gave her the flowers. But she made it known that moving forward, she doesn't want any red roses.
Yeah, but 3 times. Wow.
everybody works differently. Everybody receives things differently. So we're gonna think, well, look, if it's his current wife, it wasn't a deal breaker. Think about that. All right. So readiness is not about having it all together. Like we said, you can't have, there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. Everything is a work in progress. Relationships are a work in progress. You got to know that. And, practice make perfect. You got to constantly practice, communicate. As Mr. Kingdom always says, you have to communicate with your partner, your spouse, the person that you are connected with. You have to communicate effectively at all times. And you also have to have patience and you have to listen. Now, this week, I just want you guys to take a moment and pause before you react. Take a deep breath. And before you choose your next response, I want you to, just pause and then respond accordingly. Don't get caught up in the moment. Don't get caught up in exactly what they said, whether it hurt your feelings or if they even took you off guard. Just pause, breathe, and just make sure you align your response with the reaction or the question or the comment that was given to you. Now we have some weekly affirmations. I am practicing healthier love. I grow through consistency, not pressure. Remember, pressure is only for rice. That's why we have the pressure cooker. I am safe to learn and evolve. I show up with clarity and courage. All right. As always, it has been a pleasure being with you guys tonight on Sunday night at 9. This is a space that we are not rushing your healing. It's a space to walk it out. Thank you for choosing yourself and this practice. I'll see you next Sunday night at 9. And thank you so much for joining tonight.
Okay. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.